And before we get to the business part of it, I wish we'd all stand. We had a tragedy in our midst, and we lost an employee. So I wish you'd all stand. So I will ask Jimmy if you'll go ahead and issue prayer for this family. Jimmy, appreciate it.
Father, we come to you on behalf of family to which our commissioner is referring. We pray that you would comfort them, that you would strengthen them, that you would be with them during this time. May they feel your presence and your peace. Be with our meeting today. We pray that you would continue to bless our commissioners and our attorney, our officials. We pray that you would give them the wisdom they need to do what's best for the people of our county. Be with any other personal needs here today. And we lift up those who grieve, for we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, that's fine. I should have printed more copies.
Yeah, just our thoughts and prayers are with the James Miller family, and so we appreciate if you would remember them also with what they're going through at this time. Okay, gentlemen, we got the minutes. We had a hiatus last week, which I didn't feel bad about, actually. So, the minutes of November 23rd, we need approved.
So moved. That's second.
Okay, motion's been made and second that we go ahead and approve the minutes of November the 23rd. Tony,
Okay.
you got something? You want me to sign this one here?
Yeah, that's the correct minutes. I'm just getting the next thing in line here. Can you pass that down, Steve, and keep it at the end for me?
We can do that.
Okay. For the auditor's report, we have first the payroll claims paid on 11/26 of 2021 in the amount of $315,579.89, $315,579.89.
Okay, gentlemen.
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made and seconded. We go ahead and approve payroll claims for $315,579.89.
Second, I'm trying to find what I'm looking for here. Three, I'm not finding that council on aging claim.
Okay, Joe?
I know you gave it to me.
It was the 10,000.
Yeah.
It's in the big total.
Oh, it's in the accounts payable? Gotcha. So we don't need to do that separately? Okay. Okay.
Unless Mark thinks we should.
What's that?
That 10,000 that the commissioners was donating to council on aging.
From that
I
special
did the
donation.
claims. Do they need to approve it separately from claims, or if they approve claims, is that them approving it?
Okay,
I would, if you did a claim separate, I would have it approved that way.
Do you want to bring me down a separate one?
Do you have a separate one, or is it in these?
It's in with
It's
this.
already in there?
Yeah.
As long as it's in
Part
there,
of that amount.
as
So
long
that's
as
okay.
it's part of a claim that they're
Okay.
going to approve, that's okay.
Then I guess I can just, if they have a question
That's
on what
fine.
it is.
As long as you're,
Rex certainly knows what it is. It's that 10,000 and moving to the merit center. So that's just part of the accounts payable then.
Which one?
okay.
And
Bears Den.
They do shirts and hats and t-shirts and all that stuff.
okay,
Okay, go ahead, Tony.
we have accounts payable as of on 12/8 of 21. There is that Trimco is in here, which Brad would be familiar with. It's the bridge work, I think. 240,000 on that. We had some big ones from Wired as well in here, so it's a little higher probably than normal, although not as high as the last one because that was over $1 million with that jail bond. But the accounts payable, $655,422.35, $655,422.35, and included in there is that council on aging.
Right, I see it.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second to approve 655, 422.35.
Okay.
Motion carries.
And I'm just going to wait and let Ed do his treasurer's report later, with whatever else you're going to do, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
The last thing I have, we actually have 2 Allied weekly insurance claims. Since we had the hiatus last week, we've got 2 weekly claims, and the total amount for both is $22,876.39. $22,876.39, and it looks like it's all medical.
That's not bad.
It's all medical.
Okay.
I'm on it.
That's fine.
And when you do your thing, we will need a motion and approval on your monthly report. Don't let me forget that that'll have to be done with whatever else you're presenting, rather than doing it now.
Start with that.
Okay, and then,
No, I'm
That's not even with
surprised.
the reimbursement.
I'm surprised, yeah.
That's for 2 weeks.
that's 2 weeks.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
And that is all I have.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made second to go ahead and approve Allied claim of $22,876.39, which represents 2 different weeks.
That's all I have for now.
Okay. Mr. County Engineer.
Sounds impressive, doesn't it?
Especially when they both walk up.
Yeah. Well, because they know how long we're gonna be today.
Yeah.
You got a few
I
items there, don't you?
warned them. I warned them.
Did you? Okay.
Did you bring your knife with you?
I sharpened it last night.
Did you? Great.
You
know,
know, his fingernails grow real long.
Yeah, he just finished opening them, so.
You know that engineers think differently than the rest of us. Oh,
You got a spec sheet for us, do you, Brad?
He didn't forewarn us about all this.
Only a few weeks ago.
we might have not showed up.
Oh, think you should.
They thought it was last week. That's
Yeah,
when
that's why they canceled last week.
they,
You got one?
I do.
I don't know if you
Get
want
that
that one or not.
Is there a 2-minute time limit for it?
Well, we could do that. I don't think we're gonna be able to keep this.
Okay.
Where did that?
We're gonna open these up, we'll hit some highlights, and we'd be here all day if I didn't. So,
What do you want to do first?
just whatever you got on top. All right, Great Lakes Chloride, we have bid for, out of Warsaw, Indiana. Okay, have the non-collusion. I think that's all we need for these. We have, I'll just give you one of the solutions. We have $1.13 for the 38% solution.
Are we recording these on, I mean, not on.
We'll go through everything and we'll have it next week, we'll have it on a sheet.
Gotcha.
So we'll just give you some highlights on some stuff, and if you guys
All
want
right.
to jot down some pricing, that's fine. If not, we'll bring it back next week and give you the lowdown.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait on that one.
What's that?
I'm waiting on that
You'll
one.
wait on that one?
All right, burn ready mix. Pinville, sand and gravel. That's all right, there's an envelope and an envelope. All right. We got their non-collusion. I guess it's supposed to have Indiana Legal Employment Declaration also. All right, for wash pea gravel, $7 a ton. For number 8, gravel double washed, $11.75. Okay.
And that's for Penville?
It's burn ready mix out of their Penville pit.
Oh, I
Yes.
see.
All right, Rock Creek Stone Quarry. I have their non-collusion and their legal employment declaration. And on these, I'll just read off the ones we most commonly use. So, number 73 stone, $6.25 a ton. Number 11 stone, $12.65 a ton. 12.65.
11's what we use on chip and seal.
We use half-inch chips.
It's half-inch chips, but 11's what we use to backfill sometimes in that trenches. All right, Stone Street Quarries out of Hoagland, Indiana. I have their non-collusion and their legal employment declaration. Okay, number 73 stone, $12.25 a ton. Number 11 stone, $17.80 a ton. Yeah. Is that?
I didn't write those down.
And we might miss
Are you
like,
gonna have this all broke down for us next week? Okay. Cause I
yeah,
haven't been writing this down.
no, that's, I get it. Cause on that one, if you see, there's a list of
Yes,
like
I-
20 different stones that we. All right, US Aggregates. Out of the Pleasant Mills in Ling Grove. Yeah, exactly. There we go. Okay, I have their non-collusion and their legal employment declaration. We got winter mix. That's already done. For them, I have winter mix, and that is $110 a ton. And for number 73 stone, $10.50 a ton. And for number 11 stone, $13.65 a ton. Okay, this is for equipment for hire. So the first one is from KBL Transport.
Do we hire a lot of equipment?
Actually, no, not a lot, but there was a few times in the last year we did. Okay, I have their non-collusion and I have their legal employment. And actually, a couple of years ago, something of ours broke down. We couldn't get it fixed right away and we needed it. And so we were able to go off of these and rent a piece of equipment off of them too.
Good.
He's getting money. Asphalt. All right, the mini excavator, $155 an hour. For a backhoe, $105 an hour. And if you got any questions or you want to hear a price on another piece of equipment, let me know. There's all kind of stuff listed there. Yeah, we better. And then he also bid on asphalt. We'll just read that off while we're here.
All right, that's the next.
Okay, so on asphalt, we call it HMA, furnished and placed on bridge approaches. A lot of times we use 12.5 millimeter binder. That's $165 a ton. And then the 9.5 millimeter surface is $165 a ton also. All right, Fleming Excavating out of Decatur. And I have their non-collusion and their legal employment declaration. And for equipment, backhoe, $205 an hour. Oh, here we go. Mini excavator, $235 an hour.
Do they furnish a driver for that? Or do they just give us that equipment to use?
That's probably just the equipment, isn't it?
I was-
That's with an operator.
Oh, with an operator?
And that other one was without an operator?
KBL was with an operator.
Yeah, they were with operator.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big difference too, isn't it?
This Fleming is,
All right, and then one from Luganville Excavating
Ah,
out of Monroe.
I don't think so.
I have their non-collusion and their legal employment declaration.
Yeah, that's quite a difference.
Mini excavator, $110 an hour. And also a backhoe, $110 an hour.
Seems like there's
Yeah.
quite a bit of difference there.
Yeah,
Are you
there
sure
is.
there is
Well,
an
that's-
operator included
Yeah,
on
that'll have
that?
to be checked on,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, what's the next?
Asphalt,
Okay, asphalt.
I think. At the top keyword.
Pavement Solutions out of Middletown, Indiana. And this will be for crack sealing or the slurry mix they'll put down. I have their non-collusion and their legal employment declaration. Their slurry seal is $2.65 per square yard. And their crack sealing is 70 cents per square yard.
That's interesting that they do the slurry seal per square yard. I
Yeah.
would think that would be a liquid product, but maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, it is, it's a liquid product, but they figure,
Huh.
yeah. All right, next one is from Brooks Construction in Fort Wayne. And I have their non-collusion and their legal employment declaration. All right, on their 12.5 millimeter binder asphalt, $80 per ton. And on their 9.5 millimeter surface, $84 a ton. And they also gave us pricing on the equipment. And a backhoe is $168 an hour. And their mini excavator is $138 an hour.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out on that equipment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They just are all over the park there, so.
yeah, either way, it's,
Yes.
yeah. All right, Wayne Asphalt out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I have their non-collusion and their legal employment. And their 12.5 millimeter binder, $100 per ton. And their 9.5 millimeter surface, $150 a ton.
How long are these material quotes good for?
A year. Yeah. Basically until we do this again next year.
Are you gonna have a price difference from last year to this year, just out of curiosity?
From what we've been hearing, yes. You know, of course, everything's been going up. That's what we've been hearing from our suppliers is yes.
Is that delivered, or we go pick that up?
Like the stone, we'll go pick up. All this, the paving, the binder, and the surface is stuff they put down. All right, do this thing. API Construction out of Leato. I have their non-collusion and their legal employment. And for their 12.5 millimeter binder, it's $178 a ton. For their 9.5 millimeter surface, no bid. And they actually did bid cold mix or winter mix at $118 a ton. The winter mix is the stuff we'll patch potholes, you know, we'll go get that a lot of the time, so. Or all the time, I guess we go get it. We never had it delivered. All right, Fend and Brown, we're kind of not sure who this is or what they do. Okay, it's for cold mix, and I have their non-collusion and their legal employment, and they bid cold mix at $145 per ton. Everybody still awake?
What was the cold mix on Wayne Asphalt? Was that quite a bit?
118, I think.
118?
I didn't see it. The binder and the surface.
Oh.
Yeah, Wayne didn't do,
Oh, who was the last one then?
It was a new company. What was the name of that new company?
Fend Brown. Brooks's cold mix was $82 a ton. And then that other one, I think US Ag was,
Yeah, US.
I read that other one at US Ag, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. right.
Fuel.
These are for, this is now for fuel. The first one is from National Oil and Gas in Bluffton. And I have their non-collusion and their legal employment. All right, we'll just give you a couple of highlights here off of fuel. So unleaded gasoline, 87 octane, $2.12 a gallon. And on-road diesel fuel, $2.56 per gallon.
So on any of these fuel quotes, does that depend on our own storage system? No.
That's for the year.
So basically, and Mark, you maybe help explain this, but the way this works is by them turning these in now, this basically gives us the right to go ahead and contact them anytime we need fuel. So what we do is whenever we need fuel, we'll basically send out notice to each one of these and we get a price at that point in time.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just the price as of like today.
they're submitting quotes to be qualified bidders for the upcoming year. And so then you call and get the price.
So how long are them quotes good for?
Those quotes, until you call and ask what the price is.
So the next time
That's
we
just-
order fuel, that's when they'll give us the price on that, and then we'll go with the lowest one out of all these at that point. So basically, it can change every time we order fuel, it changes.
Yeah, unless you buy a specific, on fuel bids, they change month to week.
Yeah.
So you're just getting bids from individuals who want to be suppliers of fuel to the county for the coming year. And then you call and get the lowest spot price from the qualified bidders.
So basically, next time we want fuel, we would contact all four of these, and they would each submit, at that point, a quote on fuel, and we would go with the lowest one at that point.
Okay.
So it can, I know you're probably getting at, it
Unless
can be good and bad.
Unless you commit to buy a specific quantity
Yes.
at a specific price, if the price goes down, then you still got to pay the price you committed.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how you want to do it, but that's how we've done it, is we just get qualified bidders and then call and get the best price at the time that we need fuel.
So if we use 1 million gallon of diesel fuel, we can't get a hold of National Oil and say, give us your price for 1 million gallon of diesel fuel for
We
the
could,
year.
and then we would be locked in for that, whatever we set the term of that contract to be.
Okay.
So yeah, we could, and then that's kind of that, if you're taking that risk that it might drop throughout the year, you might end up paying more because you're locked in. But it could go the other way. It could drop and or raise and you're locked in at a lower price.
Risk.
Yep.
Risky.
It could go either way, but yeah. Anyhow, the next one is from Gladio, and they're out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I have their non-collusion and their legal employment. And for unleaded gasoline, their price is $2.19 a gallon. And for their on-road diesel fuel, it's $2.47 a gallon. The next one is from Co-Alliance. I'm not sure where they're checking. It says out of Monroe. I didn't know which office they would. And I have their non-collusion and their legal employment. And for their unleaded gasoline, $2.44 per gallon. And for their on-road diesel fuel, $3.02 a gallon. Yeah, and it's actually not uncommon when we do, we could have somebody different bringing it every time. Out of the ones we have at the beginning of the year, it could be somebody different every time depending on what price they give us. And the final one, and I'm not sure, this is from Petroleum Traders out of Fort Wayne. And I have their non-collusion. And I have their legal employment. Their unleaded gasoline is $1.99 per gallon. And their on-road diesel is $2.42 a gallon. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, next week we will bring back a lot of numbers for you. All right, now on to any questions about that?
So at this point, like with the fuel, we don't really commit.
No.
Okay.
Basically, we're just committing to that we will contact each of these four and give them a shot at quoting us whenever we need it.
Okay,
Okay, I'll make a motion to take those under further advisement for Brad.
so moved.
Okay, motion been made, second to Brad. We'll take those under further advisement, come back with us and.
All right, so Paul's gonna hand out a paper that we prepared this year. Last year during our snow season, there was, in the process of plowing, there's stuff that happens sometimes, and mailboxes can be an issue. So this year, we have come up with a paper that we would like to hand out and get put in the media, just to inform people of how we handle things when we push snow for like snow boxes, or mailboxes. Basically to check them over, make sure they're actually sturdy now and they're not weak. Make sure everything's attached. And then basically at the bottom there, it states what the rules we follow, that we will not assume responsibility for mailbox damage caused by snow or ice that's being plowed. So it kind of specifies there more. So, sorry, any questions about that, or?
No, I think it's a good idea.
I assume that's not a policy change, it's just a notice.
No, that's the way it is, and this year we decided, it'd be nice if we actually put this out, maybe got it in the papers and people could see it.
Yeah, okay.
So a few weeks ago, you guys gave us permission to attempt to acquire another truck chassis with the way everything's going on, all the way the supply is right now. And we checked, and it's not gonna happen. All the slots for next year are already taken for all the new trucks. They're already taken. So basically, we'll wait till next year, come back to you guys, ask for permission, we'll have to rebid it, and, hopefully for 23.
Okay.
But we're gonna wait until we find out when they're gonna start allowing us to do this stuff next year. We have no idea when they'll actually tell us, hey, you can go ahead and start, we got slots again for 23.
So does that mean there's no slots for the second truck you were gonna order, or?
Exactly. No, the first one is taken care of.
The first
That's
one's
ordered.
taken care of, yeah.
Second one, there was no slots. And the dealer that we've been dealing with, called around, and none of the other dealerships have slots available either. So,
It's unbelievable.
yeah, thank you for allowing us to at least try that, but yeah, we're gonna have to just wait and rebid next year, so.
Okay,
1200 South is done. If you get a chance, go down. They did a very good job. It looks very nice. Everything's done and in place. All their stuff's out. They pulled their final signs yesterday. All of our community crossings paving is done. Again, it looks very good. Everything went well with them. They did a very good job. And the striping on Winchester Road is done. Totally done. County line to Decatur where our border is, so.
yeah, appreciate it.
Yes, it does.
Now you won't get lost anymore, right?
They did edge lines also, so that was
Yep.
great.
They did a very good job on that also. It looks good.
And it looks like you came up and broomed 400 west.
Yes.
So that looks much better than what it was.
Yeah. And we'll keep an eye on it, and if
Yeah.
something needs done through the winter, we'll.
Yeah, that's unfortunate what happened there, but, I think.
Did we explain that to all of you, or I know we talked to you about it. So 400 West was just chip and sealed last year, and had previously been paved, I think about 4 or 5 years ago now. And not sure why, but it didn't get the top coat put on it. They just did a binder coat. Well, that's more porous. So what we're thinking is when we put the oil down the chip and seal, it absorbs some of that. And it was interesting because all summer it did fine when it was hot. As soon as it got cold, the stone's not holding that we put down now. So we're gonna go back through next spring, so if anybody would ask, next spring it will get re-chip and sealed. So,
Yeah,
Okay,
very good. I appreciate you
super.
keeping an eye on that.
trying to.
Yep.
Okay,
So do we take up enough time?
You did just fine.
Well,
We can give you another 5-10 minutes.
You sure? All right.
I mean,
I-
I don't think Mark back there mind or.
Yeah.
I do appreciate you going down to conference last week. I think you had some good sessions.
Yes,
And so, you know, the sessions we sat in together, I think were,
yes.
Real
It was very
so,
instructional, eye-opening, so,
so yeah, I appreciate you doing that. I think that was time well spent.
yep, it was.
Okay, very good. Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thanks, guys.
You guys have a good day.
You too.
Yeah.
Okay, Rick.
Rick, just to tell you, they took up about 10 minutes of your time.
It's good to see the band back together, guys.
I can play drums. What do you play?
Fiddle.
Um, Over at Circuit Courthouse, the courtroom was having problems heating it. Last week and all day yesterday, pretty much, found that there's a leak up in one of the handlers. It's a coil leak. It's up in the attic. We weren't able to solder it.
Like a refrigerant leak
Yeah.
or condensation leak?
Yeah. So, we're gonna have to, it's ordered, I don't have a price on it yet, we gotta fix it. That's that. Also at the courthouse, I don't know how this happened, in the women's bathroom, the water faucet handle got busted off. Needless to say, we're getting a new one on it.
Those women.
You're gonna get yourself in trouble, Stan.
Since last week, here in this building, seems like it's just on the second floor. The power had went out just a little bit. I don't know if it was from that.
Oh, that accident?
Yeah. But ever since then, the air handlers, the control system for the second floor is out of whack. I'm still trying to work on it. About when I think I have it, it's not functioning right. So in other words, what I'm saying is an office can be really, really cold or it could be really, really hot. Just trying to find a happy medium and get it settled back in. So I'm working on that. If I can get it, I may have to call. It's that situation where we're locked into one company, Able, and they may have to come in and look at it. So I may have to have them come in.
Do you think it's a control thing?
I think it is because it's not on any other floor. It's
Oh,
just those 3 or 4 offices. So,
how specific do those controls get? Does each office have a control or?
well, some are connected. There's a couple offices that are connected. Sometimes you have time, you come down and look at the system that we have. You can control the airflow, hot or cold valves, or the intake coming in. But it's an old system, and how good are the water valves on it? I don't know. You know, my goal was having a new roof put on this building this year. Obviously the chiller thing. And then after that, maybe per floor, because it'll be expensive, changing out those water valves. So we can get more accurate readings on them.
Yeah.
So, but as you well know, everything's kind of been pushed back here as far as getting to that point. What's going on there? I had mentioned to you, child support, Jeremy and their staff over there, they redid their office. So that is done. They moved in yesterday. hopefully everything's good. I did get an email about a threshold being up. And Myers just came back and looked at that, but the carpet, that all got done last Friday and we were shut down and they moved in yesterday. And I hope I think Bob was over there yesterday, hooked them up and functioning now. So if you get a chance, stop over there. It is nice.
Yeah, because they worked on that over Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they worked on it Friday. Other than that, that's all I have with you guys.
But keep us posted on that control.
Yeah. I guess one more thing, kind of the chiller thing. Do you know, will you guys be able to attend the technology committee this Thursday?
Plan
I
on it,
presume, yes.
plan on it, yeah.
Well, remember Mr. Anderson, and he's called me. We didn't have one last week because of Thanksgiving. Or last week we did, but you guys weren't there.
Right.
Then last week, so I just gotta give him some type of an answer. So, anyway,
Well, let's see what happens.
Are you coming Thursday too, or are you?
I'll try to.
Okay.
Well, what time is it?
We start at
8:30.
8:30.
I have an 8 o'clock in Bluffton, so
That'd be hard to get to. You can still come. if you want to
it
play.
might be, 9:30, 10 before I get here.
Yeah, we're usually there till about noon or so.
All right.
I mean,
I have an 8 at Bluffton.
What's that?
If all three of
Okay,
them.
well,
were
if you
to
can,
technically-
Steve, that'd be great. If you can, we'll
All right.
catch you next
We're not
week.
making any decisions.
Okay,
how's your wife?
just want to check.
Okay, very good.
Orders, so.
Thanks, Rick.
Did you get her little bell to ring?
Yeah.
Now, Mark Wynn.
Oh,
You got a few items, don't you?
I do. Caught up on these monthly reports.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That'll be 2 weeks of stuff.
Very much.
I just think that's interesting. We're ahead dollar wise and about the same permit wise.
Very close. Yeah, obviously we'll, if we get in this month, we will exceed the amount that's last year. Prior to the end of the year, I don't think we ever broke 400 permits. I think we have now 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
People have been very busy the last 5 years.
Yeah, good.
Think you're gonna exceed the annual total?
I only have 1 more to go.
I like your optimism.
How much of okay, here we go. I'm looking at residential versus commercial.
Well, you got some good additions on it, too, don't you?
Yeah.
So nothing as far as commercial.
Not this month.
So in with your yearly totals on the bottom part of the page, that includes commercial though, right?
Everything.
Okay.
Even a pond permit.
What would you say the breakdown is on that this year, residential and commercial? Any idea, half and half, or,
Oh, no, it's always more residential.
okay,
Being in the county, we don't, I mean, we do get into commercial for sure, but we don't. I think if I was in the city, city Decatur, since there's obviously tons of businesses in the city limits, more than we have in the surrounding areas. I'm loud enough, aren't I?
Nope,
Ah, come on.
you're not loud enough in the back row.
Ah, well,
sing some Christmas songs.
I guess. No.
Let's let Ed do that when he comes up.
Yeah, we do a lot more residential than commercial. That's a short story.
So you think as far as Decatur City though, they probably do
I'd say they're closer to might be closer to the 50% or
50/50,
60/40. We get, we've had in the past, we've had some things going on at Adams Central. Geneva has added on to Red Gold. Strip did some things, in the past, but overall, we don't have nearly the amount of businesses that obviously the city limits have. From restaurants to everything.
And you don't include anything in here as far as health department permits?
No,
I mean, that doesn't include any septic,
no,
nothing like
no.
that?
This is location permits, building permits, pond permits, which are ultimately just a location permit, but there's a different process to it, things we look for. And that's it.
Okay, gentlemen, any other questions? We need a motion to put it in a report. So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to go ahead and enter the Adams County Building and Planning Monthly Report. Tony.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, didn't see it. Yeah.
Now for the good stuff, huh?
Yeah. Had a busy month.
Sorry about that, Tony. Watch out, man. Any injuries?
I'll talk to Shannon about the workman's comp later.
So this was,
He just pushed a chair into me.
this is the single lot that it was. This part here was already broke out and has been for years. There are two livestock buildings in this part, so this is not actually part of what we're doing today. That already existed.
Okay, so we're doing this.
This, that was surrounding it was one lot. Now they're breaking it into two lots. So they put lines around all these buildings. And that's one lot. What's left, that's two. So basically they broke the building down. We had to get 100 feet away from livestock buildings, which is our rules that we have. So that's what those are. And that's why I'm bringing this up. This is existing lines that have been there for years. They are not 100 feet from the buildings, but they didn't exist like that back then. That's how it came.
Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Any other questions, gentlemen?
600 west, 100 south.
Okay, take a motion on it. So moved. Second. Okay, motion's been made and seconded to go ahead and approve monthly stores.
This is a single lot down just west of Geneva. Little Manning property,
You probably know that one, Steve.
County Road 1100 and 200. I think you're real near that. So what Bill's doing is he broke out his houses from the rest of his property.
No.
I'm not-
Straight behind me.
Yes, yeah, straight behind you. Yeah, that dead end road. Yep, you're right. Right here. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought you were east.
West.
Okay, that's straightforward too, isn't it?
Yep.
So move.
I think Chance Brunner might have a chance to build a house there. That's what I did.
Go ahead and approve the subdivision.
Did your farm used to be east? No?
Nope.
All right.
Still west.
That's Geneva.
For some reason, when we were driving around, you showed me where you. There. Southwest of Geneva. Well, I was just kind of mixed up.
You're fine.
Keep it straight, Mark.
Right. Okay. This is kind of like those two buildings that already were split out on that first one we did. This property.
Oh, that's Briggs, yep.
Briggs's, yep. This already was broke out, so that's not part of it. The one lot we're dealing with is everything else.
Oh, they broke 2 lots out here?
So technically it's 3 at this point. Where the buildings were at, and then they empty 2.6 acres, and then what's left. Which is 150.
This one sold Saturday though.
Okay.
So are they gonna sell this one then or what?
Had to be 2 acres or more. So
Okay.
it meets that
And they
rule.
meet that rule, yeah.
But if they got sold, I don't know that. So that's on Old 160.
Then we get option anyway.
So move.
Second. Okay, motion made in second. Briggs family second.
The new subdivision ordinance that we've been using now for a year has been working absolutely.
Yeah, that's one of the things we
Good,
check out.
good.
Now that it took a while to get used to it, but MLS probably does 90% of them. They really dial it in with the things that we needed on it. The fact that we don't have those recitals anymore. We used to have properties that have a little line here and here, and it'd say, it would recital it to here, and it would be a separate lot. And then there'd be another one added 4 acres, and it'd be like 3 different lots, but they'd have a squiggle mark and a recital, and they said, this can't be sold without that, this can't be sold without that.
So
Now,
auctioneers and realtors are okay with
it just got dumb. And now we have, when they do a survey, all 4 points are found, or whatever there is, and it's 1 lot, new description. It's not 1 lot plus 1 lot plus 1 lot, it's just 1 single lot. This is the beer farm.
She just
They
copied
just-
it.
But this thing that they want us to do, okay, so the county has to upload a file. And it's
500 south, 500 west.
Help us with the technical side of
So
upload.
existing, what was left was this. And yes, it went, just went off the creek line, divided.
Well, but see, you could have delinquent, you could have minutes owed to all kinds of different departments. Doing tax
Been made in second.
That auction's already happened.
Yep. It's out there on 500.
Mile worth of
I mean, it's kind of a catch-all. You end up doing everything.
We don't like all the acres they could get their hands on.
That was a family thing.
I mean, I'd rather do this thing, we can terminate this thing up and expire notice.
And not property.
Yep.
So they had to do it.
Right.
That's what I was told.
You can try it.
Hardcore guys wouldn't do that.
No.
Okay. We took, this was existing in that, we owned it all, it was all. Okay, it was 2 properties, but used right, 1 owner at this time. And he's now erased this line, which didn't make any sense. And they've drawn three lots. This gets squiggly down here, because it's 20 feet from buildings. They didn't include all the buildings onto this property, they left that one on the other property. So,
But you got the distance here and here.
when you got the 20
Is that why you
feet,
got that?
that's why it's split. You have 20 feet from property, so that was to that corner, and it veered over, so you could get 20 feet from there to there. So it does meet the 20-foot rules.
So many.
Second. Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
And they did the easement to get to that.
That's pretty clean.
A lot of times, if the attorney has a few things.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get my little story.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
This right here.
Got Ed, take care of.
Mark, is that your phone?
I might as well get him.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Okay, we got the treasurer's report that we haven't went over with that. Ed? Yes. Want to do it?
Now that says-
Why don't we do the treasurer's report and do that separate first, so that can be out of the way, and then whatever else we need to talk about, we can do.
Okay.
If that's okay. That way we won't forget to do it.
Good morning, gentlemen. I asked Kathy, my chief deputy treasurer, to come to this meeting as well with the month-end report. There's quite a bit going on, and I just wanted her to be able to be here to fill in any blanks that I might not be able to do so. But Tony alluded earlier that we turned in the monthly report, and you have a copy of all that already. So it's pretty well self-explanatory. But if there's any questions you may have specifically, we can go through that. Kathy? While you're looking that over, I want to let you know how much work both my chief deputy, Kathy LaFountain, and Deb Gibson upstairs do. There's lots of little stuff that goes on in any job. And every single thing that happens in this office, it seems like all of the particulars are different. There's not a whole lot that's similar in all the phone calls, the emails we get. But these two have been doing it for years. They do an exceptional job, and I thank you in front of everybody here. The one big number I want to point out to you is the very bottom number on the treasurer's daily balance of cash and depositories. If you look, it's $45,346,324.43. I'll just back that up by saying we are physically very strong. Now, this is before the disbursements, and Kathy says that the auditor's office will disperse 12 million or so of that.
Usually, I think between 10 and 12 million dollars is disperse the tax money that we collected.
So even with that, we still got a good part of the money left to start off next year. Our health reserve, as I told 2 weeks ago, we have more than enough to pay for next year already. We never know exactly how much that's going to be, but if we look at last year's numbers, we already have more than enough to pay for that next year. So we are fiscally quite strong.
So we even have advanced collection of taxes.
Explain that.
It's money that we have collected since November 10th. It is next year's collections, basically. There are some from the other years that people want to advance pay, and we'll probably get a lot of farmers coming in yet this year, paying taxes so that they can get that deduction on this year's taxes.
Gotcha.
So yes, there is the top line there. I think there's 3 lines of advance pays. The top line is what we've collected since November 10th. The next line is advance money from the spring that's going to go into next year. And the third line is the advance money that we have collected as of November 10th or between May and November for next year. So yeah, those 3 numbers combined are our collections for next year as of right now.
Okay.
And of course, some of that is delinquent. You know, people come in, I forgot to pay my taxes, they pay a 5% penalty.
Oh, I see.
So yeah,
Sure.
that is part of that.
Yeah.
Probably the majority of the first line is delinquent.
Okay.
See, we're cash along $18, Ed.
Yes. Those are good numbers. I mean, there's lots of numbers there, but when you look at all over, they're very good numbers for Adams County. And I'm just proud of the way that everything has worked this year. Very proud of the citizens that work hard to get their taxes paid on time. It's run very smoothly this year.
Yeah, very good. Appreciate everything you've done. Okay, gentlemen, any other questions on the report? If not, we'll enter it into the record.
I don't see anything else. I'd make a motion to enter it into the record as presented.
Motion was made and seconded. We'll go ahead and enter the treasurer's report for the month of November.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that.
I have a few other things. We'll try to get through these as quick as we can. My bond for next year, I know you've already done a few. Mine's a little bit different. It's more. Everybody else gets a lower amount. Mine is the highest that anybody in the state, $300,000 bond. And I have all the paperwork for that. I need, Rex, your signature if you so desire to keep me on for this next year.
Okay, I did a motion to go ahead and approve that.
So moved.
Second. Motion was made and seconded. We'll go ahead and approve the bond for the treasurer.
The reason that my bond is higher than everybody else's is because I just deal with more money. So
That's it, right?
that's it. Yep. Okay. Also, on our workman's comp insurance, we get an annual line of credit from through the First Bank of Bern for our workman's comp insurance, and all that's in the works. We don't really have to do anything about it. I'll sign the line of credit. We should have all that done by next week, but I wanted to let you know on that.
Okay, very good.
The commissioner's certificate sale is scheduled for Tuesday, March 1st at 1 p.m. There's 9 parcels eligible. It's on a Tuesday after you have your commissioners meeting. It'll be in this room, so I invite all of you to come to that. It's pretty interesting. We talked about website development 2 weeks ago, and Civic Plus is our current website provider. They are doing a major upgrade, and I've been invited for a sneak peek preview webinar that's going to happen this afternoon at 2 o'clock. If you would like, you're welcome to come into my office and watch it, but we'll find out how big of an upgrade they're going to do. But I'm looking for that. We also need to set a date for our financial committee meeting that we do annually. We do that in January before the end of the month. Don't have to do it today, but that is coming up. And then a couple things that I need to confer with Mark on eGov and their current contract that we have with them, and MVP. I want to let you know MVP is all totally installed and we're ready to, not MVP, excuse me, Xsoft is installed and we're ready to make the switch. But we have to give MVP a 30-day notice on that, and that's what it's kind of up in the air on that. But it's 2 separate things. I guess the eGov thing would be first, and
Yeah, we're under contract with them.
so I wanted to be able to switch to eGov, not eGov, to GovTech and value payment systems, and do that for this year. We found out that 8 years ago that a contract was signed with eGov that has a renewable clause in it, automatic renewable clause, that apparently that's set in stone. I was hoping we'd be able to somehow get around it. It does not look like we're going to be able to,
I think we're under contract, so we'll have to notify them next year.
and that's in September. So I cannot utilize value payment systems, if I'm right. I cannot utilize them because our contract that was set 8 years ago automatically renews each year, which is a thing that Mark does not favor. Mark apparently did not see the contract last year, and it was, or 8 years ago, and it was just brought down and commissioner signed it. That's how we gather it anyway. So I'm not gonna be able to do some of the things that I wanted to do this next year in collections unless I can get eGov to go along with it.
Can
One-
we use both?
One of
What's
the
that?
reasons
Can we use both?
no,
I don't believe
no,
so.
they are signed on as the sole provider of our
One or
credit
the
card
other.
systems. eGov, one of the reasons I did not want to move forward with them is because they keep saying they want to be ready to do all the things that I do, that I want to have done, but they are not quite there yet. If I can get them to do that, and we can continue on, then I might still be able to have the monthly payments and the private escrow and more options for our taxpayers. So that's what I'm going to investigate to see if they can do it. As of today, they're not ready. Now, they may be ready in a month or two, but in the treasurer's office, we have to have all this paperwork that goes out with the tax bills. We have to have it done quite a ways ahead of time before they're printed and mailed. And so I'm coming up against a timeline crunch on that.
When are they printed and mailed?
They're mailed in April, mid-April, for the May 10th deadline. So I could maybe go clear up to the 1st of April. That's probably cutting it real close. Mid-March would be more like it. So I do have a few months to see if eGov can come up to speed, and I can change some of those things around. But I hate that because that's something I really want to get done, but we'll have to wait and see.
And eGov was the one that was gonna generate the tax bills.
No, that's L&D mail service.
L&D.
They still are going to do
They
that,
still are, okay, I
But
didn't wanna
we're-
get the, eGov is the collect.
is the credit card provider.
You're right,
Yes.
right.
So, and the L&D mail service is very good, but they run on a timeline too, because we tell them the day that we want them to be mailed out, which will be most likely mid-April for the May 10th deadline. And then they work backwards on their timeline. So they need this by that date, this next thing by this date. And in our first year, we're gonna have quite a bit of back and forth with making sure that they do exactly the way we want it. But they do it all across the state, so I'm not worried about that. But if I can't get eGov to do what I want with the monthly payments and all this and that, we may have to push that back a year, so. So, any questions on any of that?
We will wait for further developments.
Yes, I'll know more week to week. Okay?
Very good.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Kathy.
your time. Okay, Shannon.
If you know what I mean. Okay.
Okay.
So I don't have a lot for you guys today. So we did get, Lincoln is gonna write the term life insurance policy that we talked about for 2022. They needed 25% participation from the county, and we didn't get quite that, but they agreed to write it anyways. I think we got like 20%, so they're gonna go ahead and write that for us. And then we did get some updated information from the hospital. They're gonna come out and do a redraw for the people who had the incorrect test ordered from the health fair. They told us it was 11, but I've counted 13 so far. So I sent out an email last week and just said to all employees, please check the results, make sure that they're right. This is what you're looking for. And I've had 2 additional people that were not on their list come back and say they had the wrong tests. We haven't scheduled yet, but we're going to. And then I have the job description for the nursing assistant position at Golden Meadows. The only update I made was to the reports to. We talked about that. There's a conflict of interest with a relationship out there, so we're gonna make her sign off that she reports to a different person instead of the person that it normally is. So I only printed one. I didn't want to, but I just changed it right here where it says reports to, special reporting to administrator. So as long as you guys are okay with that, this is the one that I'll have her sign off on, and we'll get her hired out there and just change reports to. Yeah, that's all I did though. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's all I have.
Okay, well, very good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.
Appreciate you talking to me. Oh, I thought you said my name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Feel better.
Okay, Mark, I guess we're up for you.
All right, got a few things. First thing is we had a meeting yesterday with our consultants for our Adams County Health or self-funded health benefit plan. And so every year we go out to bids, the consultants go out to bids to get quotes to renew our stop loss coverage. And so that they start that process towards the end of the year. You engage the actuary looks at claims, because when you're going out to get stop loss coverage, that is the only insured portion of your health benefit plan is your stop loss coverage. And so Adams County's health benefit plan is a self-funded plan, so you pay all claims from zero to the first up to $55,000. That is your specific stop loss limit. That is when coverage kicks in. So the first $55,000 of health claims is paid for each employee or each claimant. That is paid by the county. So it's absolutely imperative, though, that you have stop loss coverage. So if you have large claims that go over that amount, then you've got insurance that kicks in. So as you can imagine, in the insurance companies that provide stop loss coverage look at your claims, they look at your claim history, they look at current large claimant status. The last few years, we've been very fortunate and we've had some very good years, and the county's been able to build up some reserves in their self-funded health fund. But the reason that you build those reserves up is because you don't always have good years. And there are some years where you may have quite a few large claimants. And so this year we've had more than usual. And so anyway, the consultants have been very active and engaged. Allied Benefit Systems, Mike Olis does a fantastic job, and Allied has a big book of business with a lot of different insurance carriers, stop loss reinsurers, and then Shapley Plan Management Services. We had them on the phone yesterday. Tony and Bree were on the call. And so they have quotes from about 4 different insurers right at the present time. Our stop loss coverage is with Gerber RMTS, and the renewal this year, basically, I won't give you the specific numbers, but our stop loss reinsurer this year for 2021 has paid out substantially more in claims than what they charged us in premiums. Okay, now, in large part, we've been able to negotiate good premiums with these stop loss carriers because our relationship with our plan manager has a very broad consortium that they work with that involves about 40,000 lives. And so that helps us get some very competitive stop loss coverage. But, insurance companies don't generally like to do that year after year. They don't pay out more in claims than what they charge you in premiums year after year. And so there is an increase this year. We have, Tony and I and Bree looked at all that yesterday. The increase is about, 11%, I believe.
And to be fair, Shannon was ill.
Yes.
Or she would have been in
She
on
would
that
have been
event.
participating in that. But there is an increase. What you have to look out for is stop loss insurers. When they see that you have large claimants, then they put lasers in place. Okay, and so they say, for these 5 claimants, your stop loss coverage is not going to kick in at 55. It's going to kick in at 150 or 200 or 300. Okay, so they had substantial lasers in place for some of these individuals. And we've got another quote. It's basically down to 2 quotes that we have. It's Gerber RMTS and then HCC Life. And quite honestly, we think that quote is at the present time the best quote for renewal. But Allied and Plan Management is gonna go back to Gerber RMTS, which is our current carrier, and see if they will improve their quote or get close to matching HCC. And if so, trying to flush out the best deal for the county. So basically and we need to get this renewal done by the end of this week so that we lock it in. Otherwise, they're gonna wanna look at November claims data, and then that could change everything. And so what we're asking for is just approval by the commissioners to choose between the best final quote between Gerber, RMTS, and HCC Life to renew the stop loss coverage for your Adams County Health Plan effective January 1, and give the auditor the authority then to make that decision. Now, the documentation, they'll bind the coverage. The documentation will come back to the commissioners probably after the first of the year, and then you'll sign the policy. But we need to get the coverage locked down and in place so that it doesn't change. So do you have any questions on that? Shannon, do you have any questions about it? I know Bree was on the call.
If those claims that have been lasered out change through the year, does that change our premium or our coverage?
They don't change during the year. That's why they set them now.
Okay.
Once they're set for the year.
Okay.
Okay, so what an insurance company does on stop loss, they come in and say, we will insure your entire group. And we've only got, I think, in terms of employee and an employee family on the plan, I think the total was about 167, which isn't a lot. We've got more employees than that, but we've got a lot of part-time, and we have some that aren't on the plan. But I think it was 167. But, you look and see, the cost is substantial. So a health insurance company comes in and they look at your claims, and they look at your large claimants and history, they look at your projections, and they say, okay, well, for a $55,000 specific stop loss, we won't insure all of your people for that. We see a handful that we're going to raise that specific stop loss to 200,000. And so that's called a laser. And so a number of years ago, we had huge lasers on some cases, and those things hit, and it put the county's health plan was in significant jeopardy at one time. But now you're in pretty good shape because you've had some pretty good years. You've had some pretty good history, and you've built up some reserves. But you're at a point now where you've held premiums, or basically you've held the cost, but you're going to probably have to start using reserves, or you're going to have to increase contribution rates and what the employees pay.
They actually said that the county had done a good job of budgeting and so forth and so on, like doing the right thing so as not to have to increase costs to the employees. We're lowering some of the budgeted amount, but we're also being very conservative with that, knowing that you never know when these big claims are going to come. I think I said that correctly, Mark, didn't I?
Well, yeah, I mean, what you try to do is you try to budget to what you think your maximum exposure would be. And so you budget and reserve to what you think your maximum liability would be. And then you hope that you have a year that you don't hit maximum and that you're less. And so for quite a few years, we've hit quite a bit less, and you've been able to bank that amount. But there are years when you're going to get to that. And if you don't have money in reserve, you could see a 25% increase just like that. And then you got to come up with the money. And so anyway, you've got good reserves. This stop loss coverage you have to have it in place. And so we just need, authority to negotiate the final or to pick the best deal and get that coverage bound, and then we'll get that back to you.
Okay, so you want to mark
I'd make that motion.
Okay, motion's been made. Steve, any questions?
Not just give Tony the authority to,
Personally obligate himself on it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Tony's gonna take care. Motion's been made.
Brad,
second.
you wanna,
You heard that
you wanna cover when I do that, Brad?
Yeah,
Or you wanna send Paul?
Sure, give me another hat.
no pressure.
No pressure. Motion's been made and second that we go ahead and give the authority to Tony to be able to pick out the best deal between those two companies then.
All right. Approve that? All right. Thank you. So we'll get that done. That's important to get done here pretty quick.
I guess just as a side note, Mark, we do have 85,145.47 in the health insurance checking, and then the reserve savings, we got 3,292,298.66. So still fairly strong.
It's in good shape.
I think is that checking amount correct? Because you had moved some over.
We moved 200,000 over last week.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
so,
it isn't in one, it's in the other right now, right?
right, yeah. It's a good amount.
Yep, we're good.
Okey-doke.
All right, the other thing. We have what I'll bring back to you, I don't have it today, but I'll bring back to you probably next week, is the Adams County Sewer District is bringing on a new administrative assistant. And so the superintendent and assistant superintendent, we've got an interlocal agreement between the county and the district, because they provide some services to health department and building department, inspections, code enforcement stuff. And so they're eligible on the county health plan. They're on the county health plan. We need to add, it'd be good to add, we don't want to have different plans, so we want to make eligibility for the district assistant, administrative assistant to be eligible for coverage under the health plan, but the district will pay for the cost. And so they would pay, the employer cost, the employee would pay the employee cost, and then that would get paid, reimbursed back to the county. So as long as that's okay with you, that would keep the district from having to go out and buy a separate individual plan. They're going to pay the cost, so it really doesn't affect the county, but it would make them eligible, and then we would have everybody in the sewer district treated the same as far as health benefits.
Do you want a motion?
Yeah, if you have a motion to authorize me to at least update this interlocal agreement so we can do that, and it's whenever they start, then the district would cut a check then to the,
We'll make a motion.
To the county.
And approve it when you get it done.
all right,
So moved.
Okay, motion been made, second, and Mark, you go ahead.
okay, and that would be similar to what you do with Adams County Solid Waste District,
Yeah,
because they
right.
pay for their individuals.
Okay.
All right, so let's see, what else do we have? This agreement or this program for tax refund, exchange, and compliance systems, Jack Odell brought that in a couple of weeks ago. And so this is a program through Association of Indiana Counties that if you have monies that are owed to the county or a county department, that you can certify that debt to this program through Association of Indiana Counties, and they're have an agreement with Indiana Department of Revenue. So basically, they look for Indiana tax refunds that may be coming to individuals that owe sums to the courts, to the county, to a county department. Could be fines, penalties, taxes, whatever, and then they'll do a tax intercept. So it does take some work by, the county departments that have to say what the debt is. I assume they'll have to get it to the auditor's office, and you have to upload the information, and then it gets sent down to Association of Indiana Counties for this program. But I've looked through the agreement. The agreement is fine. Either party can terminate this agreement by 90 days prior written notice. Okay, so really the key to a lot of these programs is when you look at these, if it doesn't work out, is it something that you can get out of? And so 90 days isn't all bad. So, but that's kind of what we look for. So I guess if you're ready, or if you're wanting to try the program, we could approve that today. I could have you sign them. We'll send them in. And then we'll have to get geared up, obviously, Tony's office and probation and whoever's gonna use the system would have to communicate. And they've got a complete,
Did you look at that, Tony?
That was the only thing when we talked about it before. It sounded like it created extra work for the auditor's office and not a huge amount of benefit. So I didn't know whether it was something that we should discuss with Tony in your office.
Well, we were discussing that before, and anything that comes along pretty much goes to our office, and we just deal with it and do it. And I mean, that's just what we do. We have a good staff, and if that's something that proves beneficial to the probation department, we'll do what we need to do to make that happen. And if we find out that it's more work than the money that it generates, as Mark said, we could get out of that within 90 days if that's the case.
Who finances that program?
through state of Indiana.
Charge to it.
State of Indiana, I think, it's through Association of Indiana Counties.
But is that a deduct on what they owe in their fines or penalties or?
Well, and it's actually, there's a statute, state statute that allows them to do this, and so then they can collect fees, and it's not a lot, I think it's $25, they collect a $25 fee from the debtor. There's no fees to the county.
So that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
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 Are you comfortable with that, Tony?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think we ought to just give it a try. And
Give it a try.
We don't know how much money is out there.
Right.
Probably more on Bree, well, probably Bree and myself than anybody else, because it's the
Well, if you
finance
guys holler
side.
too
So
much, then we'll reconsider.
Well, is it something that we want to try, but maybe not at this time? I mean, because at the start of the year, it's like, I'm not sure I want to throw one more thing at the
it
auditor's
probably would be
office.
better.
Well, the timing of it is that they're wanting files, they want information uploaded
Yeah.
fairly quickly because
their
they're trying to
tax
do it
season.
for the 2022 tax cycle.
Right.
I see.
And then that's the other question that I have on that is, we are switching some of our software, and I don't know if that will make any difference or not, if that comes at all through MVP or not. But since we will be switching to Xsoft, well, for the auditor's office, we're looking hopefully by the end of January, because everything that the treasurer's office is doing is now over on our side, and we are supercalifragilisticexpialidocious busy. So
I think if you approve the agreement, you send it down to them and would probably let Jack Odell know and have the departments that are in a position to go first, that have maybe more debt to collect than others, be the trial run. And so you upload, they're only going to try to collect what debt you upload to them.
yeah, I mean, if we start this process and Bree comes over and slaps me in the face, I will let you know that maybe this isn't the time to do it. So,
Well, but also, since there's no fees involved to the county, you're just committing that we're going to use this program.
Right.
It's a program that's generated by the State of Indiana, Association of Indiana Counties, that's available for you to use as a collection system for outstanding debt. If you use it, great. If you don't use it, there's no fees owed.
Yeah.
And so you may utilize it for 2022, and you may not, or you may utilize it 50% and see how it works. If it works well, then you'll plan to gear up and use it more for the following year. But everything's going to be based upon its income tax intercept. So individuals that start filing their taxes, in early 2022 and have a state Indiana tax refund, that's what's going to get intercepted.
You need a motion on that
So,
then?
yeah.
I need a motion to approve the agreement.
I'll make a
They owe us
motion.
money, they ought to pay it.
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve that agreement.
I would second that. I would sure like to see us evaluate it here shortly and see.
Well, we won't know until we try.
Yeah.
So, okay, second, right?
All right,
Motion been made and seconded, Mark, that we go ahead.
okay, we'll get it filled out and sent in. And I think other than that, I think we were gonna talk maybe later about redistricting, and that's it.
That's after the,
We're gonna do that after the meeting.
I said that one word, I want to see if the newspapers could spell that correctly.
It looks like that.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, we were gonna do that.
I wondered if maybe I was gonna have to come and help you spell that out, Jim.
So I think.
I think the sound of
You
it.
just
is
don't
something
hear that
close.
word that often anymore, do you?
Not since Freeman Brookhorn left us, had us singing that in
Yeah.
1966.
I remember Freeman.
Okay, anything from the general public at this time? Okay, gentlemen. Need a motion.
Make a motion. Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded, we are adjourned.